Welcome to my HiFi-Tom channel. Today we are reviewing a very special speaker, the Gauder acoustic Elargo 200. This is a newly developed series by Dr. Roland Gauder, a PhD level physicist who has been in the loudspeaker or music industry or hi-fi industry for decades. His passion for music and sound reproduction is evident in each and every one of his designs. But the real question is, can you actually hear that expertise? Let's find out together. Let's first take a look at the technical specifications of the Elargo 200. It's a floor standing speaker with a height of 126 centimeters, about 30 centimeters wide and 43 centimeters deep, weighing in at about 50 kilograms. It has a 4 ohm impedance and is rated at 480 watts. It's a three-way design equipped with two, and I have to read that, 2 X-Pulse special long excursion passive woofers with ventilated centering spiders and reinforced aluminum membranes. Try to memorize that. The mid-range is also one of those X-Pulse drivers, reinforced accordingly and placed in its own sealed mid-range compartment. For the tweeter, you have the choice between the beryllium tweeter, which is installed here in my review sample, or and it sounds fantastic, or a diamond tweeter version, which sets you back an additional 8,000 euros. Optionally, and this is possible with most of Gauder Acoustics speaker, you can upgrade it to the so-called double vision version. This includes even more finely selected Mundorf components, upgraded internal wiring, top-grade WBT speaker terminals, and rhodium-plated bridges. This upgrade pushes the base price from 27,999 to 29,999. So it's a 2,000 euro increase. The acoustically ideal teardrop-shaped enclosure minimizes internal reflection and ensures an optimal sound dispersion. You can choose between a rosewood veneer or a white or black piano finish, and that at no extra cost. As you'd expect at this price class, and especially from Gauder Acoustic, the finish is flawless. I looked at the cabinet today, not really, because I'm recording the video quite a couple of days later, and the speakers are unfortunately not here anymore, but I looked at it in sunlight and it's remarkably beautiful. Depending on the configuration, the Elargo 200 ranges between 28,000 euros and, if you choose all possible upgrades, 38,000 euros. What do you get for that price? One thing that immediately impressed me when setting up those speakers is how the feet are constructed. There are spikes that can be height adjusted by spinning gear wheel, so you can perfectly level the speaker or tilt them if you wish to do so. The mechanism, and I'll show it on screen here, is butter smooth. It works beautifully and allows the speaker to stand firmly in place. And a nice gem is the scale on the side, which looks very beautiful, shows you exactly what you're doing. So you can see the scale change as you raise or lower the speaker. And the bass pads are, of course, included. The symmetrical ultra-steep crossover with over 50 dB slope per octave, as well as the built-in time delay control, ensure precise signal processing. And additionally, the bass extension system allows you to adjust the bass level from minus 1.5 dB over a linear setting to plus 1.5 dB, depending on the needs of your room. There are also bass extension modules available that allow you to adjust the bass between 35 and 70 Hz in 1 dB steps from 0 to +4 dB. This gives you a wide variety of options to adjust and tune in your Elargo 200 to your room. And I think this is a quite unique feature that Gauder Acoustic offers. You can get specifically tuned modules from Gauder Acoustic that allow you to filter out problematic resonance frequencies in your room. So let's say, like in my room, you have a mode at like 35, 36 Hertz. That bass extension module would allow you to filter out that problematic frequency or lower it in its signal. All that sounds pretty impressive, but the real question is, how does the Elargo 200 sound in practice? Let's find out. Let me start with a few initial impressions. One track I picked was actually recommended by Dr. Roland Gauder in a demo session that he ran, I don't know, a couple years back, and that immediately went onto my playlist. I still love it, and I've since bought the DSD version. We're talking about Bob Dylan's Man in the Long Black Coat. The harmonica stands perfectly centered on the soundstage. It's pinpoint accurate. And Dylan's voice is raspy and gritty, just the way you would expect it to be. It is portrayed wonderfully. Another track that stuck with me is Felix Laban's Sleeping Households. The bass in the intro was so crisp, dry and precise, it really stood out to me. This is where you can already notice the impulse fidelity that you can expect of the Elargo 200. And on a side note, I'm a bit of a fetishist when it comes to dry, clean and precise bass. That's probably why I'm not a fan of most bass reflex designs. I often feel like the bass lingers or resonates just a bit too much for my personal taste. I usually prefer sealed enclosures or at least passive membranes, like those used in my Piega Coax 711s that I personally own. But just like with the Berliner or the Dark series from Gauder, also in the Elargo series, the bass reflex is executed flawlessly. No concerns here. And if you want proof, listen to Camilla Cabello's Crown. At around 1 minute 30, I think 1 minute 34 specifically, there's a very hard-hitting bass note. And make no mistake, this track is full of deep and strong bass. But this note specifically is being stopped abruptly. And with the Elargo 200, there's absolutely zero overhang or boom or, I don't know, echoing in that bass. Just a punchy, dry impact. That's the way I like it. No resonance, no muddiness, just pure, dry bass. The next track I picked for first impressions is The Club of Five, and the track specifically is You're the Voice. This record thrives on rhythm, the snapping of the finger, the clapping, and the Elargo delivers an absolutely captivating performance. It's snappy, it's musical, it's lively. You're practically pulled into the atmosphere, into the room. Of course, in a stereo setup, soundstage imaging is an extremely important criterion. So let's listen to The Garden of Love by the Cecile Verney Quartet. The Elargo projects a wide, spacious, but first and foremost, precise soundstage. The performers are remarkably well separated from each other. One thing that definitely impressed me was the sweet spot, so where you can sit and listen and still get that soundstage is remarkably wide with the Elargo 200. You can sit side by side with, let's say, your partner and still get the full enjoyment of the stereo soundstage. And that's despite my relatively wide speaker placement and the strong toe-in. I've heard speakers that place the central vocals a bit more sharply, but what the Elargo does remarkably well is creating that panoramic soundstage where each performer has its dedicated place. And in between them, there's this impressive blackness or silence. To me, that is a real standout feature of the Elargo 200. Another great example for that is the Brandenburg concertos in D major by Johann Sebastian Bach. The violins are rendered razor sharp with remarkable precision. And make no mistake, I'm not talking about harsh heights or a harsh tweeter. That's not what I mean. It's just the precision with which the violins are being placed on the soundstage. That also comes true when we talk about the flute, which is perfectly positioned and it brings out this holographic soundstage. You can really hear through every layer. But no matter how precise a speaker is, if it is incapable of delivering a proper bass, it just doesn't deliver as much fun to me. And here again, with the Elargo 200, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Let's take Sapé comme jamais from Maître Gims. The vocals are quite impressive, I must say, and the Elargo reproduces them brilliantly. But the track also heavily relies on that deep, solid bass. And that bass is massive, but very well controlled. It leaves nothing to be desired in my listening space. But the real question is, with all those remarkable elements, how well can the Elargo 200 bring all that together, especially with recordings that probably aren't perfect? For this, I chose Turn the Page from Metallica's Garage Inc. album. Driven by my T+A A3000 power amplifier, the Elargo manages to convey that emotion that James Hetfield pours into that song fantastically well. One moment I listened to again and again was at like 3:45 45-ish. At like 3:45-ish, when he sings What She Said. That really gave me goosebumps. But still, that gritty, almost dirty feel of that song comes through perfect. The Elargo brings that raw atmosphere into my room. Another great example for that, Wishing Wells by Parkway Drive. It starts with someone walking, crunching through leaves. A crow flies by. It could be a graveyard the person is walking through. The atmosphere that is being created is so much fun to experience. Then the drum kicks in. Once again, on point, ultra dry and precise. Another important question is, of course, whether the Elargo can handle vocals well. For male vocals, I chose Be the Man by the Rag & Bone Man. And yes, the Elargo brings out the emotion in his voice wonderfully. At around 2:35 minutes, it delivers a brilliant clarity. The finger snaps sound super vivid and sharp. The voice may be a touch less forward than I'm used to when I listen to it on my reference system, but the emotion is conveyed superbly. And the same goes for female vocals. I'll probably butcher both the pronunciation of the track as well as the singer, but I chose Siana Ruth's Eftirsia for that purpose. The Elargo renders the vocal nuances beautifully. It sounds very lively, present, and real. Almost like she's standing right here singing. At between like 50 seconds and 1:10, she's barely whispering. And that level of detail the Elargo delivers is just excellent. The consonants could maybe be a tad snappier, But all in all, it just invites you to keep listening because it sounds so real. So, what's my verdict on the Elargo 200? I think you've heard it already. Let me summarize the standout features to me. It is punchy and precise. The quick impulse response and the dry and tight, precise bass really speak to me. It is brilliant and open. The highs are airy and crystal clear with stunning detail. It offers an expansive and spatial presentation. The wide holographic soundstage with excellent instrument separation is impressive. It's powerful and dynamic, thanks to its tight, engaging and full-bodied low end. And the most standout feature, it's engaging. That's the best word I can think of. Captivating or emotionally engaging come close, but I think engaging nails it. It makes you want to continue or keep listening. The next track and the next track, again and again. I believe the time delay control plays a big role in this. It truly makes a difference. And of course, there's differences in voicing. Vocals, for example, are a bit more laid back or rendered further back on the soundstage than what I'm used to from my Piega Coex 711s. But the Elargo's precise instrument separation, the brilliant yet never harsh treble, delivered by the beautiful beryllium tweeter, and its bass performance are simply impressive. And by the way, I tried out the plus 2 dB bass extension modules, but I simply did not need them in my room. I think they delivered then a bit too much for my room. I therefore also left the switch on the linear setting, and I think the bass was just perfect in my room. So if you're looking for a speaker in the 28 to 38,000 euro range and you have a large room to fill, the Elargo 200 is definitely a speaker you should give a listen to. It was an absolute joy to test this speaker. And a special thanks to Der Perfekte Klang and specifically Andreas Rackwitz, who loaned me the speaker from his personal stock for multiple weeks so I can do a proper review of the Elargo 200. He even helped me carrying them up to my attic studio because there's no way I could have done that on my own. If you're looking for top-notch advice and a remarkable selection of high-end audio gear, definitely contact Der Perfekte Klang. I'll link their online shop in the video description. So, thanks again and see you next time. Oh, and the usual housekeeping, I almost forgot. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm. Also, subscribe to my channel. It's totally free and it shows me that you're interested in the content that I'm producing here in my free time. And also a quick plug before I go. If you have bass problems in your room, these things here, they might help. Those are active bass traps by PSI. I've also done a review here on my channel. This is the only product I sell just to help cover some of the cost that occur by running this channel. I'm not planning to become a hi-fi dealer. I definitely want to stay independent to be able to give you my honest, independent opinion on the gear that I review. This product here is the exception because I honestly haven't found anything in the market that would be able to compete with it. If you're interested, just send me an email and I will give you a good market realistic deal on the product, and you would help me out a great deal to further run this channel. And I think it's phenomenal. But of course, just watching the videos, giving me the thumbs up and subscribing is already quite good enough of a support. Thanks again, take care and see you next time. Bye.